Okay, so the South African property market in 2025, it's definitely an interesting place. You've got this huge excitement finding that dream home, maybe in Cape Town, maybe Pretoria.
Absolutely. That vision is powerful.
But let's be honest, it's also, well, it can be tricky to navigate. You're dreaming of the bride by the pool, the perfect kitchen.
hmm The fun stuff.
Exactly. But before all that, there's this like really crucial first step, something that can genuinely make or break the whole experience. Getting home loan pre-qualification.
That's spot on. Pre-qualification, basically, it's getting an early signal from a lender about how much you might be able to borrow.
Yeah.
Think of it like a financial checkup for your house hunt.
Right, based on your income, your debts, credit score, the usual suspects.
Precisely. It gives you a starting point.
Now, I get that some people might think, oh, that's just another hurdle, I'll sort it out when I find the place. But what we want to dig into today, looking at the SA market now and the real benefits, is why doing this up front isn't just suggested, it's actually, well, a really smart strategic move.
It absolutely is.
So our mission here is to unpack that value, understand the process, and hopefully leave you feeling, more confident and prepared as a buyer. So let's start there. Why is this such a big deal right at the beginning?
Well, the biggest immediate thing, clarity. It
Mhm.
gives you a much, much clearer picture of your actual budget.
Okay.
Pre-qualification provides a realistic estimate based on the lender's initial look of what they'd likely approve. And that's incredibly valuable because, well, it means you can focus your search, properly focus it.
On homes you can actually afford. Yeah, that stops you from like falling in love with something that's just completely out of reach, doesn't it? Saves time, saves heartache.
Exactly. No more scrolling through dream houses that just aren't going to happen financially. You target your search effectively.
And given, the whole situation in South Africa in 2025, rising costs, economic shifts, having that solid financial boundary seems even more critical, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's about being realistic, avoiding getting into trouble down the line, especially now. But it's not just for your own peace of mind. It seriously boosts your standing with sellers.
Ah, okay. The seller's view. That's interesting.
Mhm.
How does pre-qualification make a difference to them?
Okay, put yourself in the seller's shoes. You get two offers. One buyer is pre-qualified, meaning a lender has already given a thumbs up on their potential borrowing power. The other buyer hasn't done that yet.
Right.
Which one looks less risky? The pre-qualified one, every time. There's less chance of the deal collapsing because the buyer couldn't get the finance sorted.
So it's like showing your cards early, proving you're a serious player. And I guess if it's a hot property with multiple offers, which happens a lot in some areas, that could be the deciding factor.
Precisely. It tells the seller you're prepared, you're capable, you're not just window shopping. In a competitive market, sellers crave that certainty. It makes your offer stand out.
Okay, makes sense. And that probably leads into the next point. It smooths out the whole buying process later on.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really does. Because you've done that initial financial legwork, right?
Sure.
A lot of the info the bank needs for the final loan application is already gathered or at least started.
So things just move faster once you find the one.
Exactly. It can significantly cut down the time needed for the final loan approval and the transfer process.
Mm.
And in those high-demand suburbs where houses sell almost overnight, that speed is a massive plus.
You're not stuck playing catch up with your paperwork while someone else swoops in. And I hear lots of banks have online tools for this now. It makes it even quicker.
That's right. Digital pre-qualification is pretty common. You can often get that initial figure quite fast, sometimes within minutes or hours, which lets you act decisively when you need to.
Okay, so speed, credibility. What else? You mentioned it can flag potential issues.
Yes, and this is a really valuable proactive benefit.
hmm
The process involves looking at your finances, income, debts, credit history.
Hmm.
So it might highlight something like maybe your debt-to-income ratio is a bit high. That's basically how much of your monthly income is already going out to cover existing debts. Or maybe your credit score needs a bit of work.
Okay, so it's like an early warning system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the beauty is you find this out before you're emotionally invested in a specific house and under pressure.
Right, so you actually have time to do something about it, like maybe pay down a credit card or clear up an old account query.
Precisely. You can take steps to improve your financial profile. And doing that doesn't just boost your chances of getting the final loan approval. It could actually lead to better terms.
Like a lower interest rate.
Potentially, yes.
Mm.
Which, over the 20 or 30 years of a home loan, can save you a lot of money in rands. So fixing things early pays off.
Mm.
And all this, finding issues, fixing them, knowing your budget, it feeds into confidence, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. I can see how Knowing, okay, I can realistically borrow X amount
Yeah.
would make the whole house hunt feel less, well, scary.
It really does. It replaces that nagging doubt, can I actually afford this, with a sense of assurance. You
Uh-huh.
walk into viewings knowing where you stand.
Yeah, you can make offers with more conviction.
Exactly. And you're probably more likely to stick to your budget too, because you have that clear number from the start. You're less likely to get swept away.
Okay, so confidence is key. Now, what about negotiating? Does being pre-qualified give you any extra leverage there?
It certainly can. Think about it from the seller's perspective again. They know you're financially vetted, at least preliminarily. They know the deal is more likely to go through smoothly.
So they might take your offer more seriously, even if it's not the absolute highest, or maybe be more willing to negotiate on other things.
It's possible. They see less risk with you. So yes, they might be more inclined to engage, perhaps be a bit more flexible on the price, or maybe agree to include certain appliances or cover some closing costs. It just strengthens your position.
And estate agents probably prefer working with pre-qualified buyers too, right? Less
Mhm.
wasted time for them.
Generally, yes. It makes the whole process more efficient for everyone involved. And sometimes that good relationship with an agent, built on being prepared, might mean you hear about a place before it even hits the major websites. Gives you a bit of an inside track.
That's a nice potential bonus. Now, something else I've seen mentioned is locking in interest rates. How does pre-qualification fit with that?
Okay, so this is something specific lenders offer. It's not universal, but it's definitely worth asking about. Some banks, once you're pre-qualified, might give you the option to lock in the current interest rate for a certain period.
So if you think rates might be heading up.
Exactly. It protects you against potential increases while you're still searching for the property and finalizing the deal. It gives you predictability for your future monthly payments.
That sounds really useful. A bit of certainty in an uncertain process? Definitely something to ask about when you're talking to lenders.
Absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
key question. Ask if they offer rate locks with pre-qualification and what the terms are. Now, another benefit of going through this process is that you usually end up understanding your actual loan options much better.
How so? Is it more than just getting a number?
Often, yes. The pre-qualification conversation usually involves talking to a home loan consultant or advisor at the bank or bond originator.
Okay.
And that's your chance to ask questions, to understand the different types of loans available, fixed rate, variable rate, maybe access bonds, to discuss repayment terms. You get access to expert advice tailored, hopefully, to your situation.
So it becomes an educational step too. You're not just getting a figure, you're learning about the financial product you're considering. And I suppose that's the ideal time to compare different lenders too.
The perfect time. Don't just go to your everyday bank. Use a bond originator or approach multiple lenders directly during the pre-qualification stage. Comparing their initial offers, the rates, the fees, the terms, that can make a real difference to your long-term costs.
Smart. Okay, so doing all this, getting clarity, boosting credibility, identifying issues, getting educated, it must really help with the stress levels.
Hugely. Let's be real, buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. It's inherently stressful.
Lots of unknowns.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pre-qualification tackles some of those big unknowns head on. Knowing what you can likely afford, knowing your finances are broadly in order, knowing the process, it just brings a massive amount of peace of mind.
Allows you to actually enjoy the house hunting part more, maybe.
That's the idea. You can focus on finding the right home, the neighborhood, the garden. Does it feel right? Rather than being constantly consumed by worry about the money side.
Okay, and just to circle back finally to the market itself, those really competitive spots, Joburg, Cape Town, Durban hotspots, how crucial is pre-qualification there?
It moves from highly recommended to almost essential in those markets, I'd say. When a good property gets listed, sellers might receive multiple offers within days, sometimes hours. So if your offer lands on their table and it comes with that pre-qualification letter attached, it immediately signals strength. It tells them you're ready to move, that the finance side is less likely to be a stumbling block.
Compared to an offer without it, which just looks weaker, riskier?
Precisely. Sellers want a smooth, quick, certain sale. Pre-qualification gives them that assurance. Your offer simply carries more weight. It stands out.
Yeah, it really paints a clear picture. In the South African market of 2025, getting pre-qualified isn't just ticking a box. It feels like a fundamental piece of strategy.
It absolutely is. It's proactive. It gives you clarity, credibility, and a genuine competitive edge right from the start.
So wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems unavoidable. Pre-qualification is your power play in today's SA property scene. It clears up your budget, makes you look good to sellers, smooths the process, flags problems early, builds your confidence, helps you negotiate, might let you lock in rates, educates you on loans, cuts down stress, and makes your offer shine, particularly where it's competitive.
That sums it up perfectly.
So thinking about this, instead of just dreaming about that perfect place somewhere in South Africa, what's the one real concrete step you could take, maybe even today, to get a handle on your financial position and actually start making that dream happen? Maybe it's time to check out those online pre-qualification tools or perhaps have a chat with a financial advisor to get some personalized guidance. Where could you begin?